Hey guys, Dan here with this week's The Connors review. We're looking at episode 4 of the new season, and that is called Lanford, Lanford, which is a joke within the show. So here we are sort of back on track to the good Connors type episodes. The writing is clear and concise in this episode. There's not too much going on. They stuck with a simple A story and B story, and that was about it. There were, DJ and his daughter weren't even in the episode, which, to be honest, is how I like it. You know, either give them something to do, or just write them out of the show entirely. I honestly don't think DJ or Mary need to be in the show at all, especially with Gina gone too. I mean, Gina was the only interesting person in that whole group from last season. So I did hear she might come back for like an episode this season, but she's on the new CBS show, The Unicorn, so who knows about that. But anyway, so, they weren't even in it, and you know what? Great. And it wasn't great just because they weren't in it, but, it made the show itself feel less busy. Now, both Ben and David were in the episode, which they were not in some of the previous episodes, so okay, so maybe, that took the place of something, but the A story is all about them, so it made total sense. So basically the A story is all the love triangle stuff between Darlene, Ben, and David is finally come to a head. She gets a flat tire, and they both end up showing up to help her, so from that point on, it's sort of like, okay, cool. We know that the other guy is, sort of messing with Darlene, and, she ends up telling them both about it. So that's the A story, and thank goodness, because we've been building to this so far this season in the other 3 episodes. It's, been, if not the main plot of an episode, it's been at least there somewhere. So here it is, the main A plot. Darlene and Aunt Jackie are talking about it in the very beginning scene. They're on the couch joking about The Bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise and all this stuff. And, how can these, people choose from 5 different people? I can't even choose from 2. And so right away we're into the storyline. Even if you missed the first few episodes of the season, you're caught up. Which is another thing I loved about this episode, is that even if you're, really late to the party and you're like, oh man, I forgot the Connors was back, I'll check out tonight's and see what's going on, they catch you up immediately on that stuff. So I liked that a lot. And then the B story, which really is, it's quite minor here, but it gets probably 3 scenes, and that is Becky wanting to become a bartender at the restaurant she's working at, and Katie Skull returns as Louise, who has now been promoted to manager, so she's the one in charge. Becky's sort of like, hey, I'd love to make some extra money. What about me as your new bartender? And, Dan's over there at the table giving Louise the cut it out symbol, or signal, I should say. So then we develop a storyline, leading back to Becky's drinking. She has been sober ever since she found out she was pregnant, but her alcoholism or possible alcoholism or what have you has reared its head all throughout Roseanne season 10 and the Connor season 1. So I'm glad that they're bringing it back up, and it is in such a natural way. She's looking to make more money. There's a bartending gig open. Oh, but wait, Becky, Dan saying, I don't know if this is a good idea, you've got a drinking problem, this and that and the other thing. So we focus on that as the B story. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, Jackie's there for comic relief. Mark is in the intro scene, well, not the very, very intro scene, because that's the one on the couch, but after the opening theme song, the opening credits, we see Mark, talking about this contest that he won in giving Lanford a new slogan, and the second place, answer was Lanford, ... Lanford. So that's where this episode gets its title from. But that was the only time we saw Mark. And then Harris we saw a little bit because we are sort of delving a little bit back into the whole weed thing that came up in the premiere of the season, where she was selling weed at school in edibles, and now she's made friends with this girl who, has maybe a weed problem. We don't know. I mean, we know she smokes it. She is claiming it's for medical reasons, but that seemed to be sort of a sarcastic kind of line. But her and Harris were going to Rocky Horror, and Darlene was like, well, I don't know if you're going dressed like that. And Harris was like, well, maybe I'll just have a nice conversation with Dad about what's been going on. So Aunt Jackie did not know until that point that Harris actually knew what was transpiring between Darlene and the two men. So, it's a really pared down episode. There is a strict A story, a strict B story, and some of the characters don't appear at all. Some appear just, for a moment, and that is okay. I mean, I think at this point in time, it's pretty evident that, Darlene, Becky, and Dan are the focal point of this series, this iteration of the Roseanne show. And Aunt Jackie is there, sort of as some comic relief, sort of as some, life lesson stuff, that kind of thing. But so far this season, she hasn't really gotten any main storylines. I mean, she's been in all the episodes, but like last season, she had the whole arc with Matthew Broderick as her boyfriend, and then also Beverly, in the one episode she was in, that was like sort of a Jackie episode too, a little bit. So I would love to see Jackie's character do something this season, but you know what? We're getting way more episodes this season than we did in either of the previous two seasons, so it's okay. If let's take our time a little bit. Get sort of the Becky stuff going, get the Darlene stuff going, maybe more with Darlene's kids. I definitely want to delve more into the whole Harris-Darlene relationship and Harris's drug thing, and all of that. And the tag scene was with Harris and her female friend playing with that, like the farm animal thing where you pull the string, and there's a bong on the bed in the scene, and Becky comes in and is like, are you kidding? Like, addiction runs in this family. So now Becky knows about it. So I think, that's definitely not the last we're seeing of this storyline, and that's cool. I look, if we're going to get 19 episodes, let's stretch out some of these storylines. I think that's awesome. So I'm not mad that Jackie hasn't gotten a main storyline yet. I would like to see that at some point, but so far the season has really been about two things in these 4 episodes. It's been about the Darlene love triangle, and it's been about Becky and her newborn. And because of that, we haven't even delved in too much to the baby daddy who was deported at the end of last season. He's been mentioned once. She FaceTimed with him once. Okay, so I'm assuming we'll see more with his character and where that's going to go. And then obviously the Dan and Louise thing is just starting, but as we previously read, Katie Seagal is going to be a very recurring character this season, so there's plenty of time to explore that as well. As for the Roseanne mentions, again, I don't believe she was mentioned by name, but Becky made reference to, moving back into my parents' basement. So, okay, she's mentioned there. And I forget the other time she was mentioned. I forget whether it was Dan that mentioned her or Aunt Jackie. But anyway, somebody mentioned her. But again, I don't think by name. But that's okay. Again, we're still, dealing with, oh, you know what? No, it wasn't even that. It was when Ben at the end of the episode said to Darlene about, oh, well, you said that you couldn't move in with me, with your kids, because of everything your dad was going through. That obviously alludes to, the death of his wife. But again, cool. That's totally just peppered in naturally. And that's totally, I'm down with that. So overall, I thought this was a really good episode. I am not sure yet how I feel about the resolution of the love triangle. I think it played out appropriately for right now, but I'm interested to see where it goes from here. Because these two men are clearly still in Darlene's life very much. Ben made it clear that he was not going to fire Darlene and that they're still going to have to work together, 40 hours a week. And then David obviously is the father of Darlene's two children. So, both these men are going to be in her life all throughout this season and all throughout, the rest of time. So, maybe the love triangle part is done, maybe it's not. But for now, she is left with neither man. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't know. I sort of lean one way over the other. And to be honest, that is with Ben. There was a weird part in the middle, well, towards the end, I guess, but when Darlene and David were in the therapist's office talking about everything, and David, broke it off first. And then they did a flashback to shortly after they first, were hanging out from the Roseanne show. And I don't know, it seemed odd that for a show that now, used to be 25 minutes or 24 minutes, now it's 21 and a half minutes. I don't know, do we really need a, minute flashback scene? Look, if you're watching The Connors, you are, I would say, more than likely a big fan of the original Roseanne. So, look, we remember the beginning of Darlene and David. So, I don't know. They could have maybe peppered that part in with something else or a couple of more jokes or something. But that whole scene actually was fairly serious. And then Dan and Becky had another really nice scene towards the end. It wasn't quite as much of a heart-to-heart as last week, but it was a pretty nice scene about the alcoholism, because she was trying to make the point that, well, you don't want me to bartend because you're afraid I'll drink. Well, you've got a fridge full of beer in the garage. I'm not drinking that, So it was a nice little heart-to-heart there that did end on a joke. As is the Roseanne show way. But overall, I thought this was a strong step up from the last episode. So far, it's been the even-numbered episodes that have been good this season. 1 and 3, not so much. 2 and 4, right on the money. So part of me wonders if it's like a Star Trek movie type thing, where all the even numbers will be great, and the odd numbers, not so much. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm interested to see where a lot of the storylines go. I mean, I'm interested to see certainly where the Louise and Dan thing goes. The Harris weed thing, between smoking it and selling it, I think we need to delve more into both of those. And then, of course, Darlene and the love triangle. And I would love to see Aunt Jackie go somewhere. I would love to see Mark get another episode. He already had episode 2 basically devoted to him, so that's fine, but I would like to see more of his character. But it's okay that he was only in one little scene today, because that's the thing. It's like when your episode is 3 or 4 minutes less than it used to be, and maybe that is one of the reasons that single camera comedies have become so popular, because the humor can be much more rapid fire. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's like 10 jokes a minute sometimes. Here we have to sort of hold for the laugh track, and then we have to do the scenery change and all that stuff. So I don't know, just sort of a thought. But overall, I definitely enjoyed this one. I'm going to leave Lanford with a B+. I think the flashback thing was a little weird, but no, overall it was a much stronger episode than the last one. I mean, it might even deserve an A-, but I don't know, I feel like this season has better things in store for us, so I'm going to reserve some of those higher grades. But I did enjoy this one. So that's it for this week. Now, next week there is no Roseanne episode, and I actually wouldn't even have known that, but I was watching it live today. I usually work on Tuesday, so I have to watch it sort of when I get home from work. But I saw a commercial that next Tuesday is the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. Makes sense. So we're going to have another New Connors in 2 weeks. So, no worries. I'll be back with a review of that. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and keep the comments coming. I love hearing from you guys on the episode in general, or on the Connors in general, or my review itself. Cool. Any of those things. I love hearing from you guys, and I do try to get back to everybody. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.